my god. So it's been a minute since I think my last video, like literally a year, and yeah, probably because most this year I haven't really done a lot of manga shopping, which if anyone's watched before 2014, I racked up a lot of volumes that year, um, and talked about it online. But also, I had a lot of life changes happen in this past year of 2015. Um, I've been concentrating a lot on school, like lots of school, and quit my full time work at Neiman Marcus, where I used to work. And yeah, that's pretty much where I've been for an entire year. Also, me and my husband bought a house, so in North Seattle, and that's been kind of an interesting experience. Uh, Instead of acquiring books, I've been acquiring lots of furniture for this new home, and yeah. But needless to say, I have bought things over the year. It's just I decided to bring it up. I remembered, oh yeah, I make videos, and seeing that 2015 went so quickly in my head anyway, it went really quick. Where I'm thinking like, wait, I can't believe it's already been a year. Once the new year started, of 2016, but um, I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, and I'm of course still wearing striped stuff in videos. But no, I did buy stuff. Just looking at it, I grabbed it from my bookshelf. Is not much. A lot more textbooks. Lots of textbooks, and that's pretty much it. Purchase wise, I think this year I've only invested in two manga series. Where for 2014 I bought a lot of manga, but I only bought two in 2016. Um, of course, if anyone's been watching, um, I follow Skip Beat, and it didn't occur to me. I was like, oh, I don't know which one was the last video, like which was the last book I've shown, with like a haul or anything, and I think it was this one, in number 32, but I'm not sure. Um, but looking at it, let me put that in order. 33, 34, 35. Um, that's not a lot for 1 year. That's not a lot for a series. In December of 2014, Viz Media came out with Assassination Classroom, um, and I think they're now on their going on their ninth or 10th volume, and it's only been a year since that manga's been out. So in English anyway, and it's kind of interesting that I think the ones that are more current and have a lot of like discussion around it and interest and fan interest, I think are getting pumped out faster versus things that have been with that company for almost a decade now. This manga series has been with Viz Media for almost a decade. I started reading this when I was 16, I think. I was 17 years old. And I'm now 25. Actually, my old videos, I'm on most of them. I'm until I think the last two. I think I am 23 in those videos, and now I'm now 25. So I'm 2 years older, technically. But yeah, so I've only bought the only books that came out for Skip Beat last year, which again isn't very much, which is a little disappointing. Um, it's just it's disappointing because I really like the series, and the problem is, I think I've said before, is I blazed through these guys. I blazed them really quickly, and so I finished them in a day. However, this guy, number 35, took me a while to finish because I think I'll discuss that in a minute. That one's been an interesting little manga. Outside of manga, though, I've purchased a lot of textbooks. Japanese-wise, I decided to officially start taking Japanese classes for credits, so I can get credits for the thing I already know. I am starting in the very beginning classes and working through, which I had to skip winter quarter with that because of the way my classes and work worked out, and also I signed up too late, so all the good times were taken. But spring quarter, I started Japanese one, and my school does quarter systems, so I'm technically now higher. But anyway, and I bought Genki one for that class, which is a really popular series, and I also bought some other learning material with that. But let me just say, I find it kind of funny that it takes an entire quarter, so several months, for teaching kana, and most of that class I remember was done in, until we finally finished hiragana, it was done in romaji, and I can't stand romaji. When I see kana and kanji, my brain thinks Japanese, and when I see Latin letters, I think German and English, and because those are my two native fluent languages here, and I just there's even instances where I see words in romaji that I know in Japanese, but it won't click that I know what the word is until I sound it out. So it's anyway. So of course, might as well just show it. The Genki textbook one, kind of easy. I think it's easy. However, again, I think it's reiterated my really weak point is actually speaking and listening. Listening is not too difficult if I can see text with the audio. A lot of times, if I'm reading, and not just if I'm watching a Japanese drama or something, and it has English subtitles, I prefer Japanese subtitles so I can read it while I'm associating these words. Anyway, I'm getting to how I study here a little bit, but it's this one. It's good, and we're finally going on number 2, and so that means I have to buy a new one, but it's good. It's good for what it's for. But in that case, too, for grammar points, I also bought this one, I think, back in November, Japanese the manga way, and not just because I clearly read manga. Even though this year I haven't really had time, I've been really busy where it's just I don't want to read. If I read anything, it's generally going to be a textbook or pretty much a textbook, and the last thing I want to do on my free time is reading something. So, anyway, I did buy this. Mostly because I wanted more real-world sentence structures. Of course, it's a grammar book. It's not teaching you one ABCs of Japanese. It's more like ABCs of grammar points and how people actually speak versus what, let's say, Genki or Mina no Nihongo, Mina no Nihongo teaches, which is going to be really structured, kind of artificial dialogue. They make the sentences for the textbooks, whereas this one right here, they're using actual comic strips or mangas, blocks, to go back to a grammar point that they're talking about, so that you have a real world kind of instance where this is used in actual conversation, and also the differences too between textbook languages and actual languages written mostly in comics. The language written in comic books in English, German, Japanese, any language, it's going to be generally how people speak. It's going to reflect how people speak more than a book or a novel, because generally in those, it's going to be especially in textbooks, of this pedestal of what the language should be, kind of like a glorified version of that language. So this, I think, I like the fact that they use comics to do grammar points, because it makes it more, I don't know, real. Only downfall, and I think somewhere on the internet says it, is the fact that they use romaji for a lot of it. So it does the kana and kanji of what's inside the panel, but then it translates it, then it kind of transcribes it into romaji so you can pronounce it out. And I'm wondering the reason, as much as I hate that, I think the reason that's the case is for people who want to speak better than they can read. Because I don't think this book is more focused as your ability to read. It's more so your ability to construct sentences and speak the sentences. And I think that's why it's in romaji, not in kana. Even though I wish it was in kana, Because even if you're just wanting to focus on speaking, I think you should at least know how to read hiragana, if anything. Um, Along the learning lines, I also grabbed this guy earlier in the year. I grabbed the first book, First Stage, which I think equates to N5. As far as I know, I just didn't want to jump the horse and get something that's like higher than my level because I didn't know where I kind of stood when it comes to my Japanese ability. So because it's kind of scattered. Even in Genki, I'm learning new grammar points. And I was like, oh, I didn't know why I didn't know that, but now I do. But so I got the first one, and I kind of blazed through these tiny books because they're really easy. The only disappointment is the fact they're so expensive. This was 23,000 yen. I spent, I think, $40 on this. So almost $40, or maybe I bought something else and that's why it was 40. Whatever the case, it was expensive, and for kind of what I got out of it, and I'm now glad that my college actually has these on file, so I can just check them out instead of spending a lot of money on these. But it's like I didn't even explain what this is. It's a Japanese graded reader. So of course it says it there in Japanese what it is, but it's and here in English too. It's a graded reader, so they have a lot of these for people learning English. Actually, most languages have that for their students learning English, a graded reader for their current language ability level of things they can read. And so just to make it easier, I guess, for practice, and it's actual stories written. Anyway, over explaining this thing, but it's a graded reader for your language ability, based on your language ability. But in Japanese, they don't have that many. Of what I've seen, I think they're starting to make more, but this one is one that people recommended, so I got this one. I think I'm gonna get another one, maybe a little bit higher. On the back, it gives you the different levels, the type of what the study is, kind of what's in it, how many words you should know, and how many words per story. As you see down here, like number 4 has about 10,000 to 5,000 words within each story, so it's a bit longer. Mine only has like 4, and each one comes with several volumes. So level 0, which is like the bottom of the totem pole, this one's volume 1. So volume 1 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories. Yeah, 6 stories. I just looked here. 6 of them. And then you get volume 2, but I'm not gonna stick with this level if I get another one. I think I may go to like number 2, something a little bit more difficult, because I can read some manga. I have Japanese manga. Oh god, it's 13 minutes and I'm yabbering away. Continuing movement. So one series I got at the end of 2014, so it was like November-ish I got it, and I read a little bit slowly, but I eventually got it. I just opened this one of What Did You Eat Yesterday? Nani wo tabeta? And Kiro wo tabeta? Okay, so I just opened this one out of the wrapper the other day because I finally finished number 3. It took me a little. I'm only on number 4. I think there's like 10 in this series, and I'm only on number 4, and I'm only buying them as I need them, because I realized that this one took me months to read. That's 2, and then this one took me months to read, and then now I'm doing this, and I'm going that a little bit faster, as you see my little quitter mark there. So I think it's interesting. I think it's a little bit more mature, and kind of the stories I prefer now reading are a little bit more mature stories. This is a gay-themed cooking series, which I think cooking series are really popular right now, but I can see why, but at the same time, I'm like, why is this a popular genre of cooking? I think you can like cook the things that are in this story, and every chapter is like a different recipe. I haven't tried it, but because I just skip it, and I mostly read for this the interactions of the characters. And I may review this series because I think it's a interesting look at being gay in your 40s, but also being gay in particular in Japan, which, of course, I would think, actually, not think, I know that their struggles are kind of similar to here in the West, but I can see through this series that there's some other type of struggles that they have that I don't think I can relate to as well. Maybe because I live in a very independent society and like kind of like speak your mind and showboaty kind of a like kind of society, which is United States, and even Germany too. And they're so like of the collective, and especially Japan and where this is set in, obviously, that it's like the what do people think of me? Um, so it's just, which of course every gay guy ever thinks about these things. It's just I feel like it's a little different because it's in this society. Anyway, I'll review this because it's a really interesting look into Japanese culture as being a gay male, and kind of the interactions between the couple too is a little different than me and my partner, and a lot of other gay couples that I know. So that's a thing. Putting that down, and yeah, so I haven't really bought. Clearly, I haven't bought a lot of manga this year. It took me ages to read this guy. And well, number 4 you can take out of this one, but pretty much this one too. And also this year I did finally complete Sailor Moon. It took me, I think I was on like volume 7 or 8 when I pretty much called it quits for a while, and I was like at the end, like the fall of 2014, and I was like, I cannot with this series, and probably because I didn't care and I was busy with kind of other things I wanted to do. And now that I finished it, I think I'll talk about my thoughts on Sailor Moon in a more productive, like reviewy kind of way. But I was happy I finally finished it. And I'll probably go over this one in another video. I think I'll do like a general reel of reviews in a future video. I think I may do that tonight. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I got. I'm just gonna call this like my 2015 haul because it really isn't much. I got a lot of clothes for work when I used to work. Now I'm like a housewife, so living the high life here. Anyway, so peace.